Good morning, students. Today's topic is school culture and issues of society. This topic objectives are to understand different aspects of Chinese culture, to learn how to do business and Chinese people, to learn about culture issues and the application in the society. And the next is introduction of school culture. The term school culture generally refers to the beliefs, perceptions, relationships, attitudes, and written and unwritten rules that shape and influence every aspects of how a school functions. But the term also encompasses more concentrate issues such as the physical and emotional safety of students, the orderliness of classrooms and public space, or the degree to which a school embraces and celebrates ra- racial, racial, ethnic, linguistic, and cultural diversity. These the school culture. The culture is like the large social culture. A school culture results from both consequences and unconsequences, perceptives, values, interactions, and practices, and it is heavily shaped by a school's particular institutional history. And the history of this culture, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and other staff members all contribute to their school's culture, as do other influence, such as the community in which the school is located, the policies that govern how it operates, or the principles upon which the school was founded. And this is the generally speaking school cultures can be divided into two basic forms: positive cultures and negative cultures. Numerous researchers, educators, and writers have attempted to define the major features of positive and negative school cultures, and an abundance of studies, articles, and books are available on the topic. And in addition, many educational organizations, such as the National School Climate Center, have produced detailed descriptions of positive school cultures and developed strategies for improving them, given the complexity of the topic. However, it is not possible to describe all the distinctions here. And the broadly defined positive school cultures are conducive to professional satisfaction, morally, and effectiveness, as well as to student learning, fulfillment, and well being. The following list is a representative section of a few characteristics commonly associated with positive school culture. And the individual assess of teachers and students are recognized and celebrated. The relationship, the interactions are characterized by openness, trust, respect, and appreciation. And staff relationship are congenial, collaborative, and productive, and all staff members are held to high professional standards. And this standards the students and staffs members feel emotionally and physical safe, and the school's policies and facilities promote student safety. School leaders, teachers, and staff members model positive healthy behaviors for students. And this is the mistake not punished as failures, but they are seen as opportunities to learn and grow for both students and educators. This is the student are constantly held to high academic expectations, and the expectations and a majority of students meet or exceed those expectations. And this is the important leadership and decisions are made collaboratively with input from staff members, students, and parents. And criticism, when voiced, is constructive and well intentioned, not antagonistic or self serving. And the educational resources and learning opportunities are equitably distributed, and all students, including minorities and students with disability, and the all children, all students have access to the academic support and services they may need to succeed. And these are the importance of the decision of mm, the member of and the staff and the students also. And this is the reform. Reform is the school culture has become a central concept in many efforts to change how schools operated, operate and improve educational results, While a school culture is heavily influenced by its institutional history, culture also shapes social patterns, habits, and dynamics that influence future behaviors, with could become an obstacle to reform and improvement. And this reform, for example, if a faculty culture is generally dysfunctionally functional, that is, if interpersonal tensions and distrust are common, problems are rarely addressed or resolved, or staff members tend to argue more than they collaborate or engage in productive professional discussions. It is likely that these cultural factors will significantly complicate or hinder any attempt to change how the school operates. And the simple example illustrate why school culture has become the object of so many research studies and reform efforts. Without a school culture that is contextual and important, reform becomes potentially more difficult. And the following describe a few representative examples of common ways that schools may attempt to improve their culture, and establishing professional learning communities that encourages teachers to communicate, share expertise, and work together more collegially and productively. And the next is the providing presentations, seminar, and learning experiences designed to educate staff and students about bullying and reduce instance of bullying, creating events and educational experiences that honor and celebrate the racial, ethnic, and linguistic diversity of the student body, such as hosting cultural events. And the next is the end festival. The end festivals exhibiting culturally relevant materials throughout the school, inviting local cultural leaders to present to students, or making explicit connections between the diverse culture backgrounds of students and what is being taught in history, social study, and literature courses. For related discussions, see multicultural education and voice. And the next is establishing an advisory program that pairs groups of students with adult advisor to strengthen adult student relationships and ensure that students are well known and supported by at least one adult in the school. And the serving students, parents, and teachers about their experience in the school and hosting community forums that invite participants to share their opinions about and recommendations for the school and its programs. These programs in the creating a leadership team comprising a representative cross section of school administrators, teachers, students, parents, and community members that oversees and lead a school improvement initiative. And the debate. Debate since most member of a school committee will benefit from a more positive culture. And culture factors tend to contribute significantly to emotional states such as happiness and unhappiness or fulfillment and dissatisfaction. The concept of a more positive school culture is rarely in itself controversial. And for this session, this reason, debates tend to arise. If they arise at all in response to specific reform proposals, rather than to the general goal of improving a school culture. Yet, given that organizational dysfunctions is by nature an entrenched pattern of often unconscious behavior, and the attitude of and beliefs that tends to obstruct organizational change and improvement, and because human beings can become deeply attached to emotions and behaviors that may make them less happy, fulfilled, productive, or successful attempts to reform school cultures may be more likely encounters resistance, criticism to controversy in schools that are most in need of cultural reforms. And these reforms, the in recent years, problems related to school culture are being cited as reasons for why school should be closed or why a significant percentage of the teaching faculty should be fired. In this way, these cases, school culture may become a flashpoint in large debates about specific school reform policies and strategies because all school cultures are unique. It is important to investigate and develop an understanding of the underlying causes of any debates, including the pre existing cultural conditions that may be contributing to the debate. And this debates the school culture to adopt Tolstoy's famous opening line in Anna Karenina. All positive school cultures share common features, but each negative school culture is negative in its own way. And the next is the school, cultural, and society. Schools, culture, and society is an interdisciplinary program that enhances students' ability to analyze the influence of social and historical factors that frame contemporary issues in the formal social enterprise of education. These education SCS fosters an engaging and thoughtful academic community with the small classes that allow and encourage meaningful dialogue and faculty students interaction. Each student takes course in sociology and history of education and chooses one discipline as their area of emphasis. Next, the school research interested and graduate students work side by side with faculty and benefit from their national and international professional networks. Current faculty research interests include is educational inequality, gender, history of black education, history of education, history of teaching, race and ethnicity, social inequality, and sociology of education. And this research, the school to school collaboration. This school to school collaboration school cultural supportive of collaboration. Another factor contributing to or detracting from the growth of collaborative applications is school culture. Although nearly every school leader would profess to embrace collaboration and foster its development, data suggests that the words are not always complemented by actions. In the in some schools, professionals are rewarded for their individual efforts with little attention paid to collegial work. In yet others, leaders tend to use a directive style that causes teachers and other personnel to isolate themselves. And the next is the language and social class. Language and social class, the Susan Roman and in International Econ- Encyclopedia of Social Behavioral Sciences, second edition, 2015. Communities are practices, habitus, and the linguistic marketplace. Panel Penelope Eckert's 2000 study of jokes and burnouts. Two self-defined groups of high school students in Detroit revealed that differing operational orientations to the school culture were correlated with opposing linguistic norms and styles of clothing. And this language and social classes in the job ally- aligned themselves with the middle class values of the school and saw themselves are headed for college. The burnout oriented themselves to the local working class world outside school tended not to participate in the school activities and were not planning to attend college. Eckert situated her research within a theoretical framework, drawing on notations such as community of practice and habitus. The concept of community of practice is closely related to that of social network. And the community of practice shares ways of doing things, ways of talking, belief, and values. A habitus is a set of dispositions developed over the course of life through being abandoned in a particular social position that influences patterns of behavior, affect, and thought. The notation of habitus is associated with the related concept of linguistic marketplace, and both of which were developed by French sociologist Pierre Pierre Bound produced 1991. Linguistic practices function as commodities that are assigned value in a linguistic marketplace. Highly valued ways of speaking can be converted into actual economic capital by providing access to desirable career opportunities and employment. Conversely, non standard ounces is an index of distance form of resistance of mainstream social and linguistic norms. The burnouts of instance made significantly greater use of multiple negation than the jocks, but a subgroup of burnout led the entire school, including burnout boys, in their use of this non-standard features. And the next is the professional learning community. In this professional learning community, principal leadership through their leadership, the through their leadership and management. And the management principles create the conditions within which professional learning community either thrives or is demised. The school principle has a major impact on the nature of school culture and the kind of deep learning processes on which professional learning community depends are best supported and unnurtured in a culture that values these types of processes and creates opportunities for them to occur. And the promoting high expectations and teachers as well as the students learning are critical facts And there is also evidence that modeling learning can be important, closely connected is an orientation toward and promotion of a culture of inquiry. This is particularly evident in more recent studies carried out during a period where access to and expectation about use of data are increasingly part of school really. And the role of the state in school reform responding to increasing ethnic diversity in Britain as assimilation from assimilation to multiculturalism. There had been little public debate about the implications for the education system of a multi-ethnic school population prior to the substantial influx of migrants from of disparate social societies that constituted the new Commonwealth. Now a range of issues were raised, and this is the role of state. The first of these was language. Many children from the Indian subcontinent did not have English as a first language. Those from and the Anglophone Caribbean were seen as presenting a somewhat different problem. May many of these children spoke various forms of patriotism viewed through an assemblinized lenses. And this is also interested in the in that in reflects a common theme in the categorization of black as distinct from South Asian students, whereas the latter were, and with the possible expectation of some Muslims, still are usually viewed as consequences and respectful. African Caribbeans have been characterized as more likely to be both confrontational and to lack the necessary applications to their studies. And as far as the government and key educationalists were concerned, both represented major problems for a system rather than recognizing the potential for a richer teaching environment. It was seen as undermining the dominant policy paradigm, the assimilation of migrant groups. And the next is the adolescence sociology of school features, such as the sector, private versus public, size, racial, and social economic composition, level of economic and social resources, and nature of the assignment system. Example, school choice are linked to varying degrees with adolescent achievement and to some extent adolescent health and socio-emotional well-being. And the adolescent sociology of the internal organizations, including level of curricular specialization and systems of the tracking are of interest as well. This is the adolescent sociology of school features. And the end of this topic, some references is there. These are the references of this topic. And the next is the multiple choice questions. First questions is application of principles of sociology to education is known as sociology of education, educational sociology, social foundations of education, and social science of education. School right answer. The right answer is sociology of education. And the next question is schools are social institutions because they preserve the instill in future generation the knowledge, ideas, and customs of our culture. And the next is suggest ways and means of social progress. And the suggest solutions to social problems and are established by the society. The answer of this question is are established by the society. And next question is educational sociology is the study of the interaction of the individual and his cultural environment. This was started by Brown, Carter, Ottaway, Skinner. The right answer of this question is Ottaway is the right answer. And the next is who said that educational sociology is the study of those phases of sociology that are of significance for educative process. especially the study of those that point to valuable programs of learning and control of learning processes. The right answer of this question, Brown, Keter, Outaway, Kipina. Right answer of this question is TP1. And the next question, which of the following is correct about school? They are necessary, affected by the social and economic situations and changes in our civilization, and they are powerful instruments of social change. They are potential agents of conflicts and distinction. They are social agencies of cultural transmissions. The right answer of this question is they are potential agents of conflicts and disintegration. This is the right answer of this question. And the next is specialization and further distinctions in making a living within a given economy, within an industrial economy mix. Options are a greater demand for better education, many kinds of pressures on the expansion of education, a demand for specialized courses and training programs such as management training, etc., and a demand for better man machine facilities. The right answer of this question is a demand for specialized courses and training programmers such as management training, etc. And the next question, the nature of the differences in socio-economic strata of the society, such as the wealthy, middle class, and the poor, is that runs quite frequently at cross purpose in the demands they make on education. Affects adversely the quality of education, which the socio-emotional climate of the school, affects negatively the moral of the teacher. The right answer of the question is runs quite frequently at cross purpose in the demands they make on education. And the next question, what is the result of the existence of different socio-economic strata in the society with various class interests? The option is setting up mutually incompatible tensions in the educational program, create a lot of politics in the school, causing a lot of indiscipline in the classroom, generating a lack of responsibility in the teachers. The right answer of this question is setting up mutually incompatible tensions in the educational programs. And the next question is the least hydrants in the way of the optimum development of child personality is limited economic surplus that could be spent on education, mad scrabble among various social groups, forgetting as much of the goods of education as possible, and the free education for all and equal opportunity. Incomplete teachers. The, the answer of this question is free education for all and equal opportunity is the right answer. And next question is the last question of this topic. Educational sociology deal with which aspect of education? In this question's option, social, political, economic, and psychological. The answer of this question is social is the answer of the right answer in this question. And this is all about the topic school culture and issues of society. And the end of the topic. Thank you.